Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the secret sauce that keeps your favorite websites running smoothly, even when they suddenly go viral. We are talking about Amazon EC2 auto-scaling.
So let's start with a problem that I'm sure anyone who's ever run an application knows all too well: the traffic roller coaster. You're always walking this tightrope, right? On one hand, your post goes viral, traffic floods in, and bam, your website crashes. But on the other hand, if you prepare for that massive spike and it never happens, well, you're just throwing money away on servers that are just sitting there doing nothing. It is a really tough balancing act to get right.
And that brings us to our first section, the traffic roller coaster. Because honestly, that's exactly what it feels like. You're just trying to manage these wild, unpredictable swings in user demand.
I mean, just look at a typical day's traffic pattern. In the middle of the night, it's a ghost town. Then, a few hours later, boom, a huge surge when people start their day. Now, if you manually provision enough servers to handle that peak, you're paying for them to do absolutely nothing all night long. But if you only aim for the average, you're going to crash right when you get popular. It's a guessing game you just can't win.
So what's the answer here? What if your servers could just be smarter? What if they could sense the demand and adjust themselves in real time perfectly? Well, that is the exact problem that Amazon EC2 auto-scaling was designed to solve.
And this is a great lead-in to our second section, which has my favorite analogy for this whole thing: your smart server thermostat. Seriously, just think of auto-scaling like that. It's always running in the background, making sure you have the perfect amount of computing power. Never too hot, never too cold.
At its heart, it's a service that watches your applications and then automatically tweaks your server capacity to keep everything running smoothly. The best part? It does all this at the lowest possible cost because it adds servers when you need them and gets rid of them when you don't.
And the benefits here are just huge. First, you get fault tolerance. If a server goes down, auto-scaling sees it, says nope, and launches a brand new one to replace it, just like that. Then there's high availability. It can spread your servers across different data centers, so if one location has an issue, your app stays online. And of course, the big one, cost management. You finally stop guessing and only pay for what you actually use.
So you're probably thinking, okay, this sounds amazing, but what's it going to cost me? Well, here's the kicker. It costs zero, nothing. The auto-scaling feature itself is totally free. You only pay for the AWS resources, like the servers, that you're actually spinning up. It's a tool they give you to help you be more efficient.
Okay, so how does all this magic actually work? Well, when you boil it all down, it comes down to two really simple but powerful ideas. Let's call them the fleet and the blueprint.
First up, you create what's called an auto-scaling group. This is your fleet. Think of it as a collection of all your servers, all managed as one single unit. You can just tell the group, hey, I always want at least 2 servers, but never go over 10.
And second, every fleet needs a blueprint for its ships, right? That's your launch template. It spells out exactly how to build a new server whenever one is needed, what operating system to use, what kind of power it needs, its security settings, all the little details. So every new server is a perfect clone.
All right, so we've got our fleet and we've got our blueprint. Now for the really cool part. How do we put this whole thing on autopilot? Let's get into how the system knows exactly when to make a change.
The secret is, it's not guessing, it's not random. The intelligence actually comes from you. You get to define the strategy, the actual rules and triggers that tell your fleet when it's time to grow or when it's time to shrink.
And you have 3 main playbooks to choose from. First is dynamic scaling. This is reactive. It watches things like how busy your server's processors are and adds more when things get heated. Then there's scheduled scaling. This is for patterns you already know about, like automatically adding more servers every single weekday at 9 a.m. And then the really futuristic one, predictive scaling, which actually uses machine learning to forecast demand and add servers before the traffic even hits.
So let's bring this all home. When you finally stop babysitting your servers and let a system like this take the wheel, what does that really mean for you and what you're trying to build?
Well, here are the big takeaways. Number 1, you can build truly resilient apps that literally heal themselves when something breaks. Number 2, you finally achieve that perfect balance between cost and performance. And maybe the most important one, you get your time back. Your team can focus on creating cool new things, not just keeping the lights on.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The official AWS documentation says it perfectly. This isn't just some neat feature. It is a fundamental way to get the most out of the cloud. It's the whole promise of the cloud, right there in action.
At the end of the day, this kind of automation doesn't just save you a little bit of money or prevent a website from crashing. It really changes the game. It opens up what's possible. Which leaves us with just one last question to think about. If your servers can manage themselves, what will you build next?